extraordinary vision in a country so young, hard pressed on every single side, but not crushed, saying, in God, love, and justice we trust. This is what revolution looks like. You gotta get in and stay in this fight. You got to find a way to get in the way. Speak up, speak out every day. Freedom riders or letter writers, do what you can, just shine your light brighter. Make good trouble every chance you get. Eyes on the prize, we're not finished yet. Don't tolerate injustice, my friends. Call them out, but then call them in. If you see something that's not right, not fair, stand up and say we can do better. He said, I may not be with you when we reach the other side, so let the power of love everlasting be your guide. 'Cause this is what revolution looks like. You gotta get in, then stay in this fight. This is what revolution looks like. Get in, then stay in this fight. You've got to find a way to get in the way. Speak up, speak out every day. Freedom riders or letter writers, do what you can, just shine your light brighter. Make good trouble every chance you get. Eyes on the prize, we're not finished yet. Don't tolerate injustice, my friends. Call them out, but then call them in, call them. Find a way to get in the way. Speak up, speak out every day. Make good trouble every chance you get. Make good trouble every chance you get. Make good trouble every chance you get.
Peace, salam, shalom. 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 Peace, salam, shalom.
Lupusi vola
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 Peace, salam, shalom.
We believe in
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 Peace, salam, shalom.
Creemos en la paz.
Salam, shalom.
Creemos en la paz.
Salam, shalom.
Creemos en la paz.
Salam, shalom.
Creemos en la paz. Salam, shalom. We will work for peace.
Salam, shalom.
por la paz.
Salam Shalom.
Obramos por la paz.
Salam Shalom.
Obramos por la paz.
Salam Shalom.
Obramos por la paz. Salam Shalom.
Nous œuvrons pour la paix.
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 Salam Shalom.
Vivimos en la paz.
Salam Shalom.
Vivimos en la paz.
Salam Shalom.
Vivimos en la paz.
Salam Shalom.
Vivimos en la paz. Salam Shalom.
Nous vivons dans la paix.
Salam Shalom.
Nous vivons dans la paix.
Salam Shalom.
Nous vivons dans la paix.
Salam Shalom.
Nous vivons dans la paix. Salam Shalom.
We can live in peace.
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 Salam Shalom. Peace, 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 Salam
Smiling face, outstretched hand, through disputes, small and grand, we will lay down our guns. We are one. In the rage through the war, we have shared pain before. In our grief, when it's done, urinin hana, urinin hana, where the earth touches sky, we are born, we all die, where the clear waters run.
when each day has begun. We are one. When the rock wears away and the tide rolls and sways by the moon, by the sun, Urininana, Urininana, where the earth touches sky, we are born, we all die, where the clear waters run, Urininana, Urininana, in the soft of the night, we are learning not to fight in our hearts, in the drum, we are one. In the birth of a child, through the fierce and the mild, in our daughters and sons, Urininana, Urininana, where the earth touches sky, we are born, we all die, where the clear waters run, Urininana, Urininana, in the birth of a child, through the fierce and the mild, in our daughters and sons, we are one, we are one, in our daughters and sons, we are one, we are one.
Low below me, I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
The battle lines are drawn, and once again, somebody's saying, wait, be patient. If they knew how long it would be before all people could truly hear freedom ring, I wonder which end of that moral arc would they choose. I wonder if more would have walked in his shoes. This is what revolution looks like. You gotta get in and then stay in this fight. You've got to find a way to get in the way. Speak out every day. Freedom riders or letter writers, do what you can, just shine your light brighter. Somebody call him a saint among men, a founding father, an icon, a legend. Ordinary people with such extraordinary vision in a country so young, hard pressed on every single side, but not crushed, saying, in God, love, and justice we trust. This is what revolution looks like. You gotta get in and then stay in this fight. You got to find a way to get in the way. Speak out every day. Freedom riders or letter writers, do what you can, just shine your light brighter. Make a trouble every chance you get. Eyes on the prize, we're not finished yet. Don't tolerate injustice, my friends. Call them out, but then call them in. If you see something that's not right, not fair, stand up and say we can do better. He said, I may not be with you when we reach the other side, so let the power of love everlasting be your guide. 'Cause this is what revolution looks like. You gotta get in, then stay in this fight. This is what revolution looks like. Get in, then stay in this fight. You've got to find a way to get in the way. Speak out every day. Freedom riders or letter writers, do what you can, just shine your light brighter. Make good trouble every chance you get. Eyes on the prize, we're not finished yet. Don't tolerate injustice, my friends. Call them out, but then call them in, call them. Find a way to get in the way. Speak out every day. Make good trouble every chance you get. Make good trouble every chance you get. Make good trouble every chance you get.
All right. Thank you. Good morning. It's a beautiful, cold day at Cedar Lane. I had my script. I was going to say it's a beautiful, warm spring day at Cedar Lane, and here we are, 40 degrees on Sunday morning. I'm Abhi Janamanchi. My pronouns are he, him, one of the ministers serving this religious community, and I welcome you to our worship this morning. We gathered this morning as we have gathered for over 70 years on the traditional lands of the Nacotchtank people from which the name Anacostia is derived. They're part of the Piscataway group of tribes. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have protected it through the generations. We gather this morning in remembrance of those who were enslaved and worked this land without choice or reward. And we gather in gratitude for all who have gone before us, whose love and labor helped create and sustain the mission and ministry of this religious community. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, and whatever your beliefs, gender identity, disabilities, immigration, or documentation status, we welcome you here. If you're joining us for the first time today and feel comfortable doing so, if you're here in person, please raise your hand so we may recognize and welcome you. All right. We have a young person who just showed up by himself today. Welcome. Let's give everyone a warm Cedar Lane welcome. And those of you who are joining us in person or online for the first time, we invite you to complete the newcomer form that is linked in the chat. And I want to extend a very special Cedar Lane welcome to our friends from UU Atlanta, Georgia, who are joining us online today. Their congregation chose to worship with us this morning. Thank you for taking the time and the risk to join us this morning. If you have been attending for a while and you're interested in becoming a member of our congregation, please reach out to our membership coordinator, Nicole Singer, who is here with us, or you may email Nicole. The email, I think, is being posted in the chat as we speak. Our pastoral visitors are an extension of our ministry team. Kathleen Holmey is our pastoral visitor today. She's here in person for any pastoral support, if you would like, after the service. Thank you, Kathleen, for your service. And as is our custom, we do have a few announcements. So, as we welcome spring, even if it is a bit tough to believe today, we're going to be gathering with some wonderful celebrations of spring going forward into April, beginning next weekend, where we begin with the Food Friday on Friday evening at 6 o'clock with some delicious Indian food that will be served, and then we will probably have some multi-generational fun activities. And if you're interested in signing up for Food Friday, please check the e-news or speak to Nicole, who will be here after the service. And then later on Sunday, we're looking forward to an inspiring spirit experience with some wonderful Indian music, percussion, and vocal music. And then we'll have some delicious Indian refreshments in the lounge. And for those who are brave-hearted, you will join us in the courtyard for some playing of colors to welcome Holi, the colors of spring. How many of you have been to a Holi celebration here at Cedar Lane? All right. So come prepared, wear your Holi clothes so you can participate in the festivities after the service. We look forward to seeing you there. And also, we are beginning the 21-day Racial Equity Habit Building Challenge together as a congregation. This is made up of small daily email prompts that will be delivered each morning from April 4th to the 24th. And so everyone can easily participate in this transformative effort at your own pace. Please check the e-news for more information and also to register. And spring also means our annual auction, which will be held late in the spring, and we are looking for some good folks who are able to help out. We're hoping to have a big party to celebrate the auction. So if you're interested, please reach out to Jen Morley, our executive director, as we are trying to recruit a team to be able to have our spring auction. So those are the announcements for this morning. Now I invite us, those who are here in person and online, to greet and welcome each other. Wherever you are, wonder, worship. We invoke the words of the Reverend Amanda Poppei this morning. This is the home that love made.
It is full of the love that the founders felt when they planned out these walls and raised these beams above us. This is the home that love made.
It is full of the love of all who have worshiped here, those who have celebrated and grieved here, the babies dedicated, the couples married, and family members mourned here. This is the home that love made.
It is full of the love of our children as they learn and laugh together, and our youth as they grow into their own sense of purpose and meaning. This is the home that love made.
It is full of the love of the staff and ministers who have served, their hard work and their acts of dedication. This is the home that love made.
It is full of the love of the choir, the love made so clear in the voices lifted here on Sunday morning. This is the home that love made.
It is full of our love, the love of this community despite our differences and our disagreements, the love that holds us together as a people. This is the home that love made. Can you feel it?
Yes.
Can you feel it? May the love be with us always. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Jessica Sawyer. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the worship associate for today's service. As Carl Debus Lopez and Tanner Ray light the chalice in honor and in memory of Carl's sister-in-law, Diane, please rise in body and or in spirit. To share the chalice lighting words, share in your chat where you are lighting your chalice from. Each time we kindle the chalice, we renew our commitment to our Unitarian Universalist faith. With the spark of a match, we make it new again, as fresh and surprising as the first day we encountered this spiritual community and realized we were at home. We light this chalice for renewal of our faith and our commitment to build the common good.
Please rise in body and or in spirit to sing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life, in your gray hymnals.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Ordinary Mary's Extraordinary Deed by Emily Pearson and illustrated by Fumi Kasaka. Ordinary Mary was so very ordinary that you'd never guess she could change the world. This ordinary kid, she did. She changed the world. One ordinary day, skipping on her way from her ordinary school to her ordinary house, she passed an ordinary vacant lot filled with ordinary bushes growing ordinary berries, ordinary blue and juicy, luscious, lovely berries. Well, ordinary Mary picked the ordinary berries and brought them in a big brown bowl to Mrs. Bishop's porch. What? Left berries in a big brown bowl on Mrs. Bishop's porch? That sneaky kid, she did. This made Mrs. Bishop very, very happy. So she baked a big batch of blueberry muffins and thought of 5 people who might have brought those beautiful berries. Then she secretly gave each a plate. How great. One of those 5 was her paper boy, Billy Parker. And when Billy saw his name on a note in the driveway on a plate, he parked his bike and ate every crumb. Yum, yum, yum. And you know what? He was so glad that he helped 5 people. And you know what? One of those 5 also helped 5 people. And one of those 5 helped 5 people. And one of those 5 helped 5 people. And one of those 5 helped 5 or more people. And one of those 5 helped 5 or more people. And one of those 5 helped 5 or more people. And one of those 5 helped by one of the 5. That was one of the 5. That was one of the 5. And you get me. Well, one of them was Eric, a teenage boy whose sacks and such were way too much. When one dropped on the sidewalk, Peter, who was one of the helpers, stopped his play and rushed over, saying, "Super Wheels to the rescue." Well, Eric, no longer stressed, was impressed and made a mental note that very afternoon to help 5 people and do it soon. And one of those 5 was Di, his 10-year-old sister, who didn't have many friends and was painfully shy. So when Eric said, "Hey, sis, want to come to the park and learn how to ride my skateboard?" she looked at him wide-eyed and cried, "Serious?" And he said, "Sure." And because of her brother, Di decided maybe she could be a friend to another 5 others. And one of those 5, her name is Louise, and she is a houseless woman who lived under the trees. And she could hardly believe her ears when she heard Di say, "My brother and I would like to buy you a hot dog and a drink in the stand over there." And Louise wondered if it could be true, if someone actually cared enough to give her food and a smiley-faced ring that was practically new. And Louise was so pleased, she decided that she would find 5 others and give them something. And one of those 5 was Amara, who lost her wallet in the park. Louise found it full of 5s and 10s and 20s. And even though, like all of us, we could think of plenty things to do with money. And even though she had a special need, like many of us do, Louise did the right thing. And she found Amara's name and called her home. And over Amara came. And Amara was so impressed that Louise was so honest, she offered her a job in her store and vowed to do something generous for 5 or more. And one of those 5 was Kate, a woman on vacation who wanted to see a show that she'd heard was a sensation. "Oh no," she said, "it's sold out, but I'm going home tomorrow." And her face was filled with sorrow. Amara held out her ticket and said, "I live here. I can go anytime. Take mine." And you know what? Kate loved that show and was so touched that she thought of buying 5 presents for 5 people back home. She thought that might be fun. And you know what? One of those 5 presents was a little heart necklace for Mary, her niece. And you should have seen Mary's eyes light up in surprise. Mary? What? Ordinary Mary? Yes, ordinary Mary's extraordinary deed had come full circle. And on its way, it had changed the lives of every person. It went from Mary to Mrs. Bishop to the paper boy and on and on and on. And in only 15 days, love was sent to every person everywhere. And here's the math, or at least some of it. And while 6 billion people is even more than all of the people on the planet, everyone had a share and everybody knew that somebody cared, and there was even more love left over. The world was changed, and thousands and millions and billions agreed it was all because one ordinary day, ordinary Mary did a perfect, ordinary, stunningly earth-shaking, totally extraordinary deed. What perfectly ordinary, stunningly earth-shaking, totally extraordinary deed will you do today to change the world? I wonder.
Let us center ourselves and enter into this moment, calling upon all the sources of love that are within, among, and around us. We gather in sacred space, across time and space, a sanctuary amid the many challenges of life, a center from which we may gather strength to face these challenges with courage and hope, faith, and love. Within our Cedar Lane community, we hold in our hearts Carl Debus Lopez and Tanner Ray as they mourn the loss of Diane Debus, Carl's sister-in-law, who died on March 14th. Judy Parker and her family as they mourn the passing of longtime member Russ Parker on March 21st. Raj and his family as they mourn the loss of Raj's mother, Rev.Abhi, who passed away in India on March 22nd. Our caring extends beyond Cedar Lane to others whose lives are lost and whose lives are impacted by war, calamities, and the COVID-19 pandemic in our nation and in our world. We continue to pray for the people of Ukraine, the thousands who have died, and the millions who have been displaced from their homes, so many of them children. Our hearts go out to all those who are enduring the ongoing devastation of war in our world. May these friends of ours, our companions in the world, and all the joys and sorrows that we hold in our hearts be held in the embrace of silence. As we enter the silence together, those who are mourning a loss or marking the anniversary of a loss of a loved one are invited to arise in body and/or spirit or share those names in the chat.
Good morning. My name is Nate Holtman. My pronouns are he, him, and I am the president of the Cedar Lane Board of Trustees. Good morning and welcome. I want to also welcome our friends joining us online, and in particular also those at UU Atlanta. Welcome and thanks for joining us. We have been through a lot in the past 2 years. Pandemic, racially motivated violence, political strife and insurrection, a worsening climate emergency, a rate of inflation not seen for the past 40 years, and now a war of aggression in Ukraine. Facing these challenges has been tough. It continues to be tough. Some have suffered wrenching losses, and all of us have struggled in many different ways. Through it all, our Cedar Lane community has stood as a beacon of strength, love, and hope. Our ministers, staff, and lay leaders stepped up. They stepped up with creativity, compassion, and tenacity, rooted in their commitment to our UU principles and to our congregation. You, our members and friends, held each other and those in need outside of our community in love and support. And while we are not out of the woods yet, while there is still work to do, together we are making it through. We are not only still here, but we are also moving ahead. We are growing. As I said to Rev.Abhi the other day, if that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. So let's celebrate that. Let's take a moment to pause and reflect with gratitude on just how much our leaders and our congregation have stepped up to hold our community together and even to help it grow and thrive in difficult times. Yeah, let's be happy about that. Thank you. And as an element of this, you also stepped up with renewed and reinvigorated financial support. Your financial contributions have been critical to support our widening circle of care and welcoming. As we emerge into what we hope will be a new period of growth and reawakening, our annual pledge drive is now in full swing. This year's pledge theme is very appropriately, now more than ever, resilient together. This theme captures the spirit of our community, which is at the root of our financial giving. At Cedar Lane, our mission is to explore the eternal, to nurture community, to build a more just world, and seeking to do so by embodying the eighth principle, to grow into a more multicultural, more multi-generational congregation. Our work is needed today, both here and in the wider world, and your financial support is essential. It is essential for enabling this work. In fact, more than 70% of our annual budget comes from you as part of the annual fund campaign. So we know why we support this church. We know that. And now it is time to support how our church can thrive. In that spirit, I invite you to pledge your financial support. Let's reach deeply this year to put us on a sustainable pathway to enable us to invest in the future of our community and our congregation. How much should you give? If your financial situation is tight, give as you can, what you can, and let us know if there are ways we can support you. If you are doing okay, give what you gave before. Holding constant is a blessing. If your finances have not been impacted, consider increasing your giving. The Board of Trustees have all agreed to increase our annual pledges this year, and we invite you to consider raising your pledge as well if you are able. As we offer our support together, we can also then imagine the future of our emerging church to help put it on a solid path. Thank you for all you have done and continue to do for each other and for Cedar Lane and for supporting our community through your financial pledges. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate, for that inspiring ask. And I hope you will take it to heart and join our Board of Trustees in giving of yourselves generously to support our annual fund campaign. Today, as we do every Sunday, we share our plate. Sharing the plate during the service is both a symbolic and a practical way of showing our commitment to this religious community. It is symbolic in that we are living into an important spiritual principle of our being a free faith who choose to assemble freely and to give of ourselves freely to support the mission and ministry of our religious community, as well as the mission and ministry of organizations that we work with. And it is practical because it is through our giving that we are able to finance the music and the worship, the pastoral ministries, the social justice ministries, the ad ministries, the religious education, faith formation ministries, and so many other things that in turn make this place a happening place. So for all that, we are grateful for the incredible generosity that you have shown throughout this time in helping church happen during this time period. Now today we are sharing our plate with AIM, Action in Montgomery. Cedar Lane has been a member, a founding member of AIM for over 20 years and joined other faith communities and organizations in Montgomery County to really live into the vision of Montgomery County to be a welcoming and inclusive place for multicultural, multi-faith families. And AIM has been going about this work in so many different ways, engaging the community partners to be engaged in the work that in turn allows us to live into this vision. Let us watch this video to know more about AIM's work. And you may give many different ways at Cedar Lane. You can give online, you can text, you can go and figure out that QR code that you see, or you may mail in your check, which is a wonderful way to do it, or if you're here in person, you may drop your offering in that beautiful bowl that's located in the back of the sanctuary. However you choose to give, we're deeply grateful for your generosity. And now let's watch this video.
When I discovered what AIM was about, it responded to the passion that I had in my heart.
Cambia la autoestima al trabajar con personas que lo apoyan, lo guían y le hacen ver a uno a qué tiene derecho y a qué no tiene derecho. Ya, sirve, la verdad. Sí.
The world is in so many ways too broken and the stakes are too high to do ineffective organizing that mostly just makes us feel like we're doing something.
A lot of the time, the folks that have the political power are treated with kid gloves. But with AIM, we treat them as equals. We're all citizens, we're all equals.
Even if we don't have a good result, we always try to look how we're going to have a new strategy, how to have a good result.
And we walked out of the meeting totally depressed. And Jonathan Lang, who was then the advisor to Mark Fraley from Industrial Areas Foundation, said to us, "What did you learn? What was he saying to you?" And finally someone piped in and said, "We don't represent, when you look at the room, this county. And until we represent the county, we can't do the ask." And so we spent the next year becoming 22 congregations, and we were able to work with the county expediting, along with the state, all-day kindergarten over a number of years. It was the first really great success in 2001, 2002, along with increasing the Housing Initiative Fund.
And I remember that night asking the county executive at that time for $10 million for affordable housing. And that was a lot of money during that time.
The first and most important blessing of organizing is knowing that the people have the power and that the people have the power to make a difference in literally every circumstance if we're organized enough.
When AIM was created, it was the second IAF organization in Maryland. We now are on the cusp of having 5 organizations, which positions us to not only deal with Montgomery County politics, but statewide. Because some things we can deal with at the county level, but there's a lot of issues that really need to be addressed at the state level. And we've got the power, we've got the opportunity, and I think that's the next stage of our growth.
Montgomery Action, yo la verdad estoy bien agradecida que haya llegado a nuestra comunidad porque hemos hecho cambios que están a la vista.
The people that their voice are not heard, I always want to work with them to change for a better future.
Thank you. Thank you, members of the choir, Jenny Lynn and Jasmine, for that rousing anthem celebrating joy and community. This anthem was actually composed in loving memory and remembrance of beloved Cedar Lane members Jay and Arlene Schneider that the choir sang a few years ago. So it's just wonderful to have this song again as our choir returns to sing live in person. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I was observing to a colleague recently that, this is late March, and it feels like June in terms of the church year, of how it's impacting the spirit at times. And then it feels like September, that we are restarting again. There's that new energy as well. So it's a little discombobulating at times, but I'm so glad you're here and you're online at home watching. And those of you who are watching online, please come here. We have plenty of room and we are open for business. Love to have you. So I begin first with a poem called Long Haul People by the Reverend Rudy Nemser. He writes, "You find them in churches when you're lucky. Other places too, though I mostly only know the ecclesiastical varieties. Long haul people upon whose shoulders and pocketbooks and casseroles and daylight nighttime hours a church is built and maintained after the brass is tarnished and cushions need restitching. They pay their pledges in full and on time, even when the music is modern. Support each stewardship campaign, though the sermons and services aren't always short. Mow lawns and come to suppers, teach Sunday school when there's no one else and they'll miss the service. Asked what they think of the minister, or plans for the building renovation, or the choral anthem, or Christmas pageant, or color of the bathroom paint, they will reply, individuals and fashions arrive and pass. The church, their church, will be here, steady and hale, for a long, long time. It will. For long-haul people, bless a church with a very special blessing." And second, a new twist on an old and somewhat overused parable. Get ready, Cedar Lane. You know this one. A chicken and a pig. Remember? It's been a few years. Yep, I'm hearing some witnessing there and some groans. Anyway, a chicken and a pig were walking down Cedar Lane. As they passed our church, they noticed this beautiful, colorful banner advertising Food Friday. Now, caught up in the spirit, the pig suggested to the chicken that they each make a contribution. "Great idea," the chicken cried. "Let's offer them ham and eggs." "Not so fast," said the pig. "First of all, it's a UU congregation, so I'm sure it's a vegetarian or vegan event." "But even if it isn't," the pig said, "for you, chicken, it's just a contribution. But for me, it's total commitment." That's the joke. It's for our friends from UU Atlanta. I figured they may not have heard this joke, so I hope you're enjoying it. Now in past times, when I've shared this joke, this is the point in my reflection when I would ask you all to be pigs and not the chicken. when it comes to your relationship to Cedar Lane and really make a compelling, stirring case, which most of you ignore anyway, for why you should be totally committed. Well, not today. In fact, I'm going to say the opposite to you today. I want you all to be chickens. I want you all to be chickens for Cedar Lane. Wow, that has a nice ring to it. I should have made that the title of my reflection, not renewing your commitment. Be chickens for Cedar Lane. Be chickens for UU Atlanta. Let me explain. Now, for the pig to be a part of the ham and eggs breakfast, the pig has to be slaughtered. Now, no one asked the pig if it would like to be slaughtered. And the pig certainly doesn't volunteer for this. And some might even say that the pig was born to be your bacon, but I'll bet the pig would disagree. Because you see, the problem with being slaughtered is that it is terminal. This is like asking a new member to join various ministry teams and committees and volunteer for multiple things in the first few months of their joining the church, only to see them burn out and leave the church in a few months. You see, commitment does not mean becoming a martyr for your church. Whereas for the chicken, to be a part of the bacon and eggs breakfast, the chicken only has to do what is in its very nature, its passion, lay eggs. The chicken doesn't know how not to lay eggs, and the chicken will continue to lay eggs for as long as it is able. So this is like members, regular folks, ordinary Marys, who give years of sustained service and support because they have found their passion and revel in doing it day after day, week after week, year after year. Is this commitment? You can bet the farm on it. Pardon the pun. A true story from the Reverend Jane Jepka, a lifelong Unitarian Universalist, from reading through the archives of the church that she once served. She writes, in the 1930s, of course, times were tough. During that period, members of our church were accustomed to pledging either 25 cents, 50 cents, or $1 a week. In the 1929-30 church year, all the members fulfilled their pledges of $13 for the year, or $26 or $52. But as the Depression continued, our ledger books began to show tiny numbers at the bottom of each page. 5 cents, $2, $12, and then a little S, 5 cents short of the pledge, $12 short, $26 short. Just what one would expect during the Depression. And then she continues, picture this. Picture more numbers appearing at the bottom of the ledger. 80 cents, $7, 30 cents, and after these numbers, the tiny letter O. 80 cents over the pledge, $7 over. There is no evidence of a special appeal from the board or the board president or the minister, she writes. No traces of public discussion, only the quiet generosity of the people. For every pledge that had to fall short, one of many generous people overpaid to compensate. And she concludes, Mahatma Gandhi was never a member, Mother Teresa never belonged, nor Bill Gates, just regular, ordinary folks like us. Just regular, ordinary folks. You know, Jane's story reminds me of how Cedar Lane members, right here, who sent checks and notes on top of their pledges over the last couple of years, saying in one way or another, we feel so blessed to be able to do this. Please consider this as a pledge for those who are unable to give in this time, or make this money a down payment for the future. And many of these pledges, on top of their pledges, were small, were large, were extraordinarily large throughout these last couple of years. Their gifts, your gifts, enabled us to meet the moment then, to meet the moment now, and continue providing good ministry during this time. Regular folks, ordinary Mary, chickens. Some of the most inspiring people I have met in my life are right here in this sanctuary, in this congregation. They are regular folks, long-haul people who worship and serve here. Too many to name, who laugh and cry, who sing and are silent together in this sanctuary and at home. Regular folks who teach religious education, like Diana Thompson, who has taught RE for over 40 years. Yes. Or who sing in the choir, like Leslie Backus and Bob Harrison and many others who are seated up there. Regular folks who do the video and audio and slides every Sunday. You know, Mike Moores and Barb Thompson, Ariel Mora, Todd Chernikoff and Michael McCrickard. Regular folks who create these beautiful flower arrangements like Cindy Meredith and Isabel Morrow. You know, yep, well, you can keep applauding because this is a longer list. And I'm going to name a few names, but there are many, many more, so just go with me. Regular folks who greet and welcome people at the door like Lisa Chernikoff and Diane Yonches. Regular folks who make coffee and tea like Carol Richardson and others. There are regular folks who come in early even when it is snowing hard or if it is daylight savings to set up for church and then stay back to clean up afterward. They are regular folks. Regular folks who visit the sick, make calls like Betsy Binks and Kathleen Holme and other pastoral visitors and show up at people's homes with a delicious tofu casserole that they learned in an online cooking class with Reverend Katie. Regular folks. Regular folks who make stewardship calls and work the auction and the rummage sale like Marilyn and Karen and Mary Beth and Kathy Napper. They are regular folks who serve on the board and committees and ministry teams on renovation and capital campaigns like Mary Means and Mary Ann Dillon, and search teams like Linda Giannessi and Mama Hoswedi. They are regular folks who show up in the rain or the snow or the heat to witness and march for justice, for equity, and for peace, like Diane Seifert and Charlene Zelmer and John Gubbings. They are regular folks, more than 100 of you, who made Cedar Lane a living sanctuary for Doña Rosa and her children for over 18 months. Regular folks like you whose extraordinary generosity makes this religious community happen. The salaries paid, the water and electricity flowing, the computers and the Zoom and the YouTubes humming, the buildings and grounds maintained and dues to the UUA honored. They are regular folks who live quiet lives, yet they are lives intensely moved by vision and hope. They are regular folks like you, and the too many to be named, who do the work of the church and also do church work, who make our Unitarian Universalist faith a living tradition. This congregation is an act of faith and an act of commitment by regular folks. And the truth is, that commitment was required when this church was formed, and that commitment is required, still required, from each of us and all of us, regular folks, to sustain community. Commitment is required. But commitment to what? What are our religious commitments in this faith without a creed? In this faith that tries to see difference and diversity as strengths, not as deficits or something to be feared. What are our religious commitments in this community with our lofty ideals and our very human practice? What are our commitments? Commitment to ourselves? Yes, that is a core commitment to nurture and heal our spirits, to grow our souls. Commitment to one another? Yes, that is certainly required to sustain this religious community. Commitment to our principles and purposes that ground our decision-making, the inherent worth and dignity and divinity of every one of us, the interdependent web of which we are a part, journeying towards spiritual wholeness to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community. Yes, those commitments are important to you and to me. Many commitments to sustain community, and perhaps one more, a commitment to a hope that love might truly be real, to a faith that love might actually win over and against hate, over and against fear, to listening to what calls us the nameless mystery of many names, and a willingness to live into these commitments even when the world tells us that the odds aren't so good, that the trend lines are not going in our direction. Don't open your heart, the world says. Better hunker down. Don't share. Hoard what you have, because there is not enough to go around, and it's all about you. But a willingness here to live into those commitments even then, even now, or at least to try and to keep trying in the face of disappointment and resistance, and knowing the reality of our own shortcomings. Our commitments call us to hold fast to our vision of the beloved community, to search for the hope in our history, to find the courage to put our shoulders, to bend the arc of the universe toward justice, equity, and compassion, because the arc is not going to bend itself. And to live as if love works, and by our living, make it so. We come here specifically because here we are called to choose to be committed, to choose to be chickens, choose to bless the world, because the choice, as the Reverend Rebecca Parker says, will draw us into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, its chorus of life welcoming us. None of us alone can change the world. Together, that is another possibility. Together, that is another possibility. And to that possibility, let us say yes and amen with the yes of our lives. Amen. I am so grateful to everyone who comes together week after week to create this community. For each and every one of you here in person and at home. Grateful to my colleague, Reverend Katie, Nate Holtman, and Jessica Sawyer for your contributions to our service, to our music coordinators, Jasmin and Jenny Lynn, the Cedar Lane Quartet, and the Cedar Lane Choir for the awesome music today. And thank you to our amazing AV team, Michael McCrickard and Todd Chernikoff, Mike Morse, Barb Thompson, Peter Mathers, Peter Lowenthal, and Ariel Mora for those beautiful slides. And thank you to birthday boy Jose Morant. Yes, Jose is celebrating his birthday, working. And our facility staff, our hospitality and pastoral volunteers, our faith formation staff and volunteers, and Cindy Meredith for this beautiful flower arrangement. Friends, next Sunday, as I said earlier, join us April 3rd at 11 a.m. for the special spirit experience to celebrate Holy and then get messy afterwards. And I hope friends, members, and also our UU Atlanta friends will join us for fellowship hour after the service to connect more deeply. And the URL for the virtual fellowship hour will be in the YouTube chat. And these words of benediction. If you wish to rise. Blessed are those who yearn for deepening more than escape, who can renounce smugness and be shaken in conscience, who are not afraid to grow in spirit. Blessed are those who take seriously the bonds of community, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much to minister as to be ministered to. Blessed are those who bring, not send, their children, who invite their friends to come along to join in fellowship, service, learning, and growth. Blessed are those who support the church and its work by their regular, sustained, and generous giving, and who give of themselves no less than their money. Blessed are those who know that the work of the church is the transformation of society, who have a vision of the beloved community transcending the present, and who do not shrink from controversy, sacrifice, or change. And blessed are all of you who make and remake the commitment to journey together, to march together in faith and in the light of God. May it be so. Amen. Now please remain rising as you are to sing Siyahamba, number 1030 in the teal hymnal.
Marching.
We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of God.
Singing.
We are singing in the light of God. 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 We are singing, singing, we are singing, singing, we are singing in the light of God. we are singing, singing, we are singing, singing, we are singing in the light of God.
Dancing.
We are dancing in the light of God. 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 We are dancing, dancing, we are dancing, dancing, we are dancing in the light of God. We are dancing, dancing, we are dancing, dancing, we are dancing in the light of God.
Walking.
We are walking in the light of God. 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 We are walking, walking, we are walking, walking, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, walking, we are walking, walking, we are walking in the light of God.
Siahamba.
Siahamba ukanyan post. Siahamba ukanyan post. Siahamba ukanyan post. Siahamba ukanyan post. Siahamba, hamba, siahamba, hamba, siahamba ukanyan post. Siahamba, hamba, siahamba. Hamba siya hamba kukanyan wenpo.